Future tripping is definitely a real thing in early sobriety, or even if you're just contemplating getting sober. It's like our brains are just wired, or we naturally start to obsess about upcoming things. Like, how am I going to enjoy the summer without drinking? How am I going to go to the beach? How am I going to do weekends on the lake? What about birthdays, weddings, anniversaries? What about all these things in the future? So, in the present moment in our sobriety journey or thinking about getting sober, we're not faced with any of those things in the moment, but our brains will just jump ahead and hyper focus on those things. And if you're anything like me, I would play them out in my mind very theatrically. I would be very dramatic with it. And I would think, worst case scenario, like it's going to be the worst thing ever. I'm going to hate my life sober. I'm going to be so miserable. I'm never going to have fun again. I'm never going to be able to enjoy these types of events, on and on and on. And I would get stuck in that place for a while. And it's usually one of the overwhelming type of questions that I get in my DM, something like, I'm on day 10, day 15, day 30. I'm doing good. I love how I feel. I love being sober, but I have a wedding coming up this weekend and I don't know how to deal with it. Or I have a family member coming into town that I always used to drink with. How am I going to be around them not drinking? Or fill in the blank with whatever type event. But here's what I've learned in my now 33 months of sobriety about this topic of future tripping. First and foremost, any upcoming event that I was future tripping about when I was in my early days of sobriety, whatever I was imagining it up to be in my mind, just how horrible and miserable it was going to be, when I got to that actually said event, it was nothing like I thought it was going to be in my mind. And almost every, almost every event that I went to that I was worried about, I was actually surprised at how much easier it was than I thought it was going to be. Notice I said easier it was, not it was just easy, but it wasn't what I had just drummed it up to be in my mind. And also, as we move along in our sobriety journeys, we change and we grow. What I mean by that is, you on day 5 of your sobriety is not the same you on day 35 of your sobriety. Things happen during that time frame. You start thinking different. You start looking at alcohol differently. You start working those sober muscles. You build more tools. So when you are in those situations, day 35 sober you reacts different than day 3 sober you would have. And if you're anxious about these upcoming events, go into it with a plan. If you're going to be at some kind of event hall, place, whatever, like a wedding, find out if they're going to have NA beverages there. Are they going to have mocktails there? And more than likely, if there's any kind of open bar, if you go up to this open bar and say, hey, I'm not drinking, can you make me some kind of a mocktail? I have never once had a bartender turn down making me some kind of a mocktail, even when they weren't on the menu. Usually they're overjoyed to do it. They congratulate you on your sobriety and usually give you the drink for free. And also another thing that can help is let someone know that's going to be at this event, party, whatever it is, let them know that you're not drinking. And I don't know, for whatever reason, that just helps when someone else knows, hey, you're on a sobriety journey and you're not drinking. And I have found that when I've been faced with the question of, oh, you're not drinking, why aren't you drinking? Usually a really quick answer like, oh, I'm just not drinking tonight, or I'm just taking some time off from drinking, or I have a busy day tomorrow. For the most part, no one's ever questioned it beyond that. They've just been like, oh, okay. And half the time, they're half in the bag anyway, so they don't really care that much that you're not drinking. But that's some of it too. We think that everyone there notices we're not drinking and they just care so much that we're not drinking. But they're half drunk. They don't care. They're having fun. And think about when you used to go to these parties and you were drinking. Did you really notice or really care about the people that weren't drinking. People really don't think about us as much as we think they do. And lastly, you always have the good old fashioned Irish goodbye. And usually by that time, everybody's like 20 sheets to the wind and they don't even notice that you left. So I promise you, whatever you're freaking out about, tripping about, it's not going to be like what you think it is when you're actually in the moment.